A very good morning to all of you. I hope all of you are fine. Okay. So students, today we will start with the first chapter. But before that, I would like to ask questions from students. Few questions I would like to ask before proceeding with the chapter. And I will ask question from a particular child, and that child will give the answer in WhatsApp, and other students will write the answer in their copies. So question number 1 is, what is the difference between chemical and physical changes? You have to tell me only one main difference. The answer to this question, Bhavna will give. Bhavna, just WhatsApp the answer to me. Second question, which of the following is a physical change and why? The answer, Amit will WhatsApp me. The answer to this question, Amit, please WhatsApp me the answer, and other students will write the answers in their copies. Now, next question is, what is the difference between element and compound? So this one difference you have to tell, and the answer Saurav will write. Saurav will WhatsApp the answer to me, but other students will write the answer in their copies, and I want to see the answer in my WhatsApp. Okay, now I will tell you the answer to these questions. Question number 1, what is the difference between chemical and physical change? One main difference. Now students, in physical changes, what happened? The new thing which is formed, that is totally similar to the original one. For example, melting of ice. Now when the ice melts, what you get? You get water, and that water and ice constituent wise, they are same. Ice also has 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. Ice is also written as H2O, and that water, it also contains 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. It is also written as H2O. So both are similar, and that water can again be converted back to ice by keeping it in the refrigerator. But in chemical changes, what happens? In chemical changes, the new substance which is formed, that is not similar to the original one. Suppose burning of paper. If you burn paper, what you will get? You will get ash, and that ash is totally different from the original paper, composition wise. So that is a chemical change. Now, answer to second question, which of the following is a physical change and why? Tearing of paper is a physical change. Why? Because if you take a piece of paper and tear it into 4 pieces, all those 4 pieces will be similar to each other. And if you will paste all the 4 pieces, again you will get back paper. So here, this is tearing of paper is a physical change, because when you are tearing the paper into 4 halves, all the 4 pieces are exactly similar to each other. So no new substance is formed here. And here again you will get the original paper back simply by pasting the 4 pieces of paper, 4 pieces of teared paper. Rusting of iron is a chemical change. Why rusting of iron is a chemical change? Because rust is the new thing which is formed. It is a new thing. And now that rust, composition wise, is totally different from the iron. Before it was iron, now it is Fe2O3 plus H2O. So, and this rust again cannot be converted back into iron, so it is a chemical change. Curdling of milk. Milk is converted into curd. Now when milk is converted into curd, that curd is a new thing which is formed, which is totally different from milk. and that curd cannot be changed back into milk. So it is a chemical change. Now the third question is, what is the difference between elements and compounds? Children, what is an element? Element is a substance, anything, or you can say which is made up of same type of atoms. What is element? Element is a substance which contains same type of atoms. Now if you will see copper wire, suppose under the powerful microscope, you will see that copper wire will contain small particles. Actually, what is this copper wire? It is made up of very, very fine small particles which are called as atoms. Now in the copper wire, all the atoms are of copper only. That is why it is called as a element. Copper is an element, iron is an element, aluminum is an element. What is a compound? Now you take the case of carbon dioxide, that is CO2, or you take the case of water, that is H2O. Now this is called as the compound. Why? Because it contains the atoms of two different elements. In carbon dioxide, that is CO2. In CO2, it contains the atoms of carbon also and atoms of oxygen also. So it is called as a compound. So students, I have seen the answers, and after seeing the answers, I saw the answers, and after seeing the answers, I will proceed with the new chapter, or the very first chapter, named as chemical reactions and equations. The chapter will be explained to you in detail. Now please see the first example. Hydrogen, which is a gas, reacts with oxygen, which is again a gas, and it gives us water, which is a liquid. Now please refer to page number 1, figure 1.1. Here you will see that a magnesium wire, you take a magnesium wire, burn it in a flame, and just below you keep a vessel. You keep some china dish, or you can keep some vessel, and you will see that when this magnesium wire is burnt in a flame, you will see it burns with a bright dazzling light, and in the china dish which is kept below, white ash gets collected. And this white, what is this white ash actually? Now what happens? You know that the substances burns only in oxygen. So here magnesium burns in oxygen, or magnesium combines with oxygen to give us magnesium oxide. And this white ash is nothing but it is magnesium oxide. And this magnesium oxide is a new substance which is formed from magnesium and oxygen. So here this is also a chemical change. Now students, these two are the examples of chemical changes, and these are also called as chemical reactions. What are chemical reactions? Chemical changes can be called as chemical reactions. And actually what happens, there is a rearrangement of atoms. Old bonds of the, like if you take the case of hydrogen and oxygen. Now here what is happening, the old bonds of hydrogen and oxygen are breaking, and new bonds are formed between them to give you the product water. Same thing in magnesium and oxygen also. Old bonds are broken and new bonds are formed to give you magnesium oxide. Okay. Now again you see another example. You take one flask, okay, or you take beaker. Now there you take a zinc and add hydrochloric acid slowly, and in the flask or in the beaker you keep one thermometer. What you will see after some time, you will see a gas is evolved, a very irritating pungent smell gas, it is evolved, and a new substance, zinc chloride, is formed. You will also observe that the vessel in which the reaction takes place becomes hot, which shows that there is a change in the temperature. Temperature has increased. Now students, what are the characteristics of a chemical equation? How you know that a chemical equation has taken place, or what are the characteristics of chemical equation? There is a change of state. Like again, in example 1, you will see hydrogen plus oxygen, both of them are gases, and they are giving you water, which is a liquid. So here there is a change of state. From the gaseous state, it has changed into a liquid state. So there is a change of state. Second, change of color. You can take the example of rusting of iron. In rusting of iron, what is happening? That rust, iron color, original iron color was different, but after the reaction over the iron, rust is formed, and the color of the rust is reddish brown. So there can be, in a chemical reaction, the change of color. Third, change in temperature. You just observed in the above example, that is when this sulfuric acid is added in zinc, there is evolution of a gas, and also there is increase in the temperature. So there is a change in the temperature. Before, the contents were in the room temperature, placed at the room temperature, but after the reaction the temperature increased. So there is change in the temperature, which shows chemical reaction has taken place. Evolution of gas. Again, we can take the same example, that is zinc plus sulfuric acid gives us zinc chloride, zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. So again, hydrogen gas is evolved, and we can say that the chemical reaction has taken place. I hope all of you have understood these 4 points, characteristics of a chemical reaction. Okay, now it is not necessary that all the 4 things has to happen for the chemical reaction. All the 4 things can happen, 1 thing can happen, 2 things can happen, or 3 things can happen. So, but if any 1 thing also happens, we can say that the chemical reaction has taken place. Okay, now we come to next topic, chemical equation. Students, please refer page 2 and 3 of your NCERT book. Children, if I say that magnesium reacts with oxygen to give magnesium oxide, don't you think it will be quite long? And it will be confusing also. You have to remember magnesium reacts with oxygen to give magnesium oxide. So if I want to make it short, how I will write? Let me write it in the form of words. Magnesium plus oxygen gives us magnesium oxide. Now it has become shorter and this is called as word equation because it is written in the form of word. Now you can also see one arrow there. The elements or the compounds present on the left hand side of the arrow are called reactants, and if the substance formed is present on the right hand side of the arrow, it is called as product. Product is the new thing which is formed after the chemical reaction, and this arrow, it shows the direction of the chemical reaction, that the chemical reaction proceeds in forward direction. Okay, now that is a word equation, students. But still, if I want to make it shorter, then what I have to do? Then let me write it in the form of formulas or symbols. Magnesium is written as Mg, oxygen is written as O2, and we will get MgO. So this is written in the form of symbols and it is still shorter. So this is called as a chemical equation. What is a chemical equation? It is, and what it is representing? Magnesium plus oxygen gives us magnesium oxide. It tells us about the chemical reaction has taken place between magnesium and oxygen, and the new thing formed is a magnesium oxide. So this is a chemical equation. And what is the definition of chemical equation? Chemical equation is the representation, or chemical equation is the equation which represents chemical reaction in the form of symbols or chemical formula. So this is the chemical equation. It is the representation of a chemical reaction in the form of a symbols or in the form of a formula. That is the chemical equation. Now students, you know, if you see this equation, magnesium plus oxygen, it gives us magnesium oxide. Now here, magnesium has one atom, oxygen has two atoms, and magnesium oxide has two atoms. Now total atoms of reactants are 3 and total atoms of product, that is magnesium oxide, is 2. Now on the left hand side, the number of atoms are more compared to right hand side. Now you have studied law of conservation of mass in class 9th. According to, what does that law says? It says, according to law of conservation of mass, the mass of the reactants and the products during the chemical reaction, after the chemical reaction remains same. Means suppose this I'm giving this example I'm giving to make you understand. Suppose if on left hand side, the reactant side, if the mass of the product is, let me say, 1 gram, then on right hand side also it has to be 1 gram according to law of conservation of mass. But here what is happening? There are 3 atoms and on the right hand side there are only 2 atoms. So the mass of the reactants is more, mass of the reactants will be more as compared to the product. Why? Because there is one additional atom, so there will be one extra mass of that additional atom will be added. So it does not follow law of conservation of mass, because on the left hand side the mass will be more because one oxygen atom is more as compared to right hand side. So students, now what to do? We cannot remove oxygen, we cannot remove anything, we cannot change the formula. So now in that case what to do? If we add one more oxygen on right hand side, that is the product, what will happen? The mass will be same, because so that we do by balancing the chemical equation. And this equation, that is magnesium plus oxygen, it gives us magnesium oxide. This is an unbalanced chemical equation. This equation is not balanced, therefore it is called as unbalanced chemical equation, or unbalanced chemical equation are also called as skeletal equations. What are they called? Skeletal equations. Students, now we will study about balancing the chemical equation. You see, first, zinc plus sulfuric acid gives us zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. Now you see here, there is 1 atom of zinc, there are 2 atoms of hydrogen, there is 1 atom of sulfur, and there are 4 atoms of oxygen. Now you see in the product side, zinc 1 atom, sulfur 1 atom, oxygen 4 atom, hydrogen 2 atoms. So here the atoms of the elements are same on both the sides, that is left hand side as well as the right hand side. So we can say that this equation is a balanced equation. Now you come to the next example, that is second one, Fe plus H2O. It gives us Fe3O4 plus H2. Now you see here, how many iron atoms are there? There is 1 iron atom. How many oxygen atoms are there? There is 1 oxygen atom. There are 2 hydrogen atoms, and in the product formed there are 3 iron atom, 4 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atom. So here the number of atoms are not same on both the sides. So we have to balance the chemical equation. So